For those of you who are considering living abroad, the general rule is that if you are a US citizen, you are going to be taxed on your worldwide income.
Worldwide. That's it.
For the most part, they know you got that account. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Financial Fraud Friday with Karina and myself. We are here every other Friday with a recording. This is just our way of I guess letting you guys into our private conversations, some of them, some of the stories we, pull from offline and we give our thoughts and our opinions, so on and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, let's get this party started. For those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Nike Togba. I am the owner of Togba and Associates in the Atlanta, Georgia area. We are a tax and advisory firm focused on entrepreneurs and professionals. We specialize in taxes, bookkeeping, and tax advisory. So if you are someone who is looking for assistance, please feel free to visit topaandassociates.com and schedule a consultation. For those of you who, are looking for, you want to throw me in line and throw Karina in line with a couple of other tax professionals you may be looking to gain some help from. I do have 6 tips for choosing your tax professional. That link will also be here in the profile and in the story. You can click that link and use that link to assist you in your search.
Okay.
Karina.
Hey everyone, my name is Karina O'Connor, and I'm the owner and founder of Cake with the K Financial, where we help six-figure solopreneurs resolve their tax problems so they can run their business with confidence. Typically, our services include helping you with a tax bill that you cannot pay in full and or any back taxes that you have not filed for the last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 years. So we're trying to resolve those tax problems as well as keep you out of tax problems in the future. So if you would like to book a call with me, let us know. So I'm going to go ahead and do the disclaimer. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. All things that we say are for informational purposes only. This is not financial, tax advice, legal advice, any of that. These are all of our opinions. Everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. We get all of our information from typical articles, posts, and things of that nature that can be researched on your own time. While we are professionals, we are not your professionals, but we can be. Like, book a link in the bio for both of us if you would like to book us. So now back to Nikkei. What is the topic for today?
Well, you know what? It's interesting. We are not actually talking about fraud today. Today, we're not talking about fraud. Interestingly enough, what we are talking about are expats. We're talking about, overseas, living overseas, being overseas, going overseas. We're talking about individuals who are considering, given our current climate, renouncing
Yes.
their US citizenship, okay? And the tax effects and how that affects you. And if Karina or myself might fly the coop and be like, you know what, I quit, I'm gone. I don't want to do this anymore. No.
Like, take me, take me
So,
somewhere else.
yeah, so not so much fraud today, you guys, but it is we're just gonna let you in on our discussion because this is something that Karina and I were kind of discussing in the background and said, okay, we'll have it. We'll have this discussion out loud in a sense. Okay. So no fraud today. Because the fraud stories are the same, Karina. Somebody didn't file a fraud
It's so
taxes
funny
and they COVID relief and they're still going after people for COVID relief. Can you imagine?
because they may be slow,
Mm-hmm.
but they'll
Yeah,
get you.
they're going
They'll
to,
get you.
they
They'll let
said
it pile up.
they coming, right? Or
Yeah, just
and
like Target, even though we're not on Target right now, but like my understanding is that Target will see that you steal from them, but they have cameras at every single angle. So they'll know that you are a thief. You are a thiefing thief. But instead, they won't let you stop. Like, they have like their security and all of that. They won't stop you until you reach grand theft. and then
The
they're gonna prosecute you
setup.
with jail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've been stealing little things,
Well, yeah, I guess
little
technically, how
things
could
to
it
be
be
all
you?
grand theft.
Right, you wrong. And then we're gonna be like, how you gonna let me steal that much?
That many
You
things.
trying to entrap me
Yeah.
for stealing. Stop.
So the
Yeah.
IRS, like all the all
They
the three
do,
letters, they
don't
wait and
they?
stake
They
out.
wait.
They say once the FBI gets to you, they already know what
They
you're doing.
already knew you was doing what you was doing.
So in the same regard, the IRS is actually
Oh,
really, really, really slow.
I didn't even think about that part. You sure right too.
Yeah, they
It's
wait.
like by the time they get to you, they already knew you were doing what you were doing. They just letting it pile up
They will.
so they can come.
Yeah, but the IRS wants their money, period, even if it's $1. I know that's crazy.
Hey, okay, so let's get into this whole expat thing. So, this story is taken from an article from BDO USA, which and it's written by Miss Amanda Harrell, published March 20th, 2026. And it reads, in a Federal Register update published on March 13th, 2026, the U.S. Department of State announced a reduction in the fee for U.S. citizens who wish to renounce their citizenship and request a certificate of loss of nationality of the United States, a CLN. To alleviate the cost burden of individuals who renounce their U.S. citizenship, the fee to receive a CLN has been lowered from $2,350 to $450, which returns the fee to its 2010 level. The reduced fee is effective April 13th, 2026. Okay. Um, this reduction comes more than 2 years after the State Department first proposed lowering the fee. Since the fee was raised in 2015, the department has faced sustained criticism and even litigation from accidental Americans, those who are U.S. citizens under U.S. law, often unknowingly, and so they're U.S. citizens under law, but unknowingly to them because they think
I get that.
they're overseas now. They're
I
citizens,
get that.
right, of wherever they currently live. So it's often unknowingly and who have little or no meaningful connection to the US and other US citizens abroad. Um, and as noted, the Federal Register announcement, as noted in the Federal Register announcement, much of the frustrations of U.S. citizens abroad with the U.S. tax system relates to the Foreign Account Tax Reporting Act, so FATCA. The enactment of FATCA in 2010 has led to complex reporting requirements for U.S. individuals who hold certain non-U.S. assets such as bank accounts, mutual funds, pensions, and other investments. Okay. So to summarize that, you have these individuals who, some of which I was reading, as I was doing in my research reading, some of which um, became US citizens from other countries. Then they leave and they don't denounce the US citizenship. And now they're back in their maybe say country of birth or another country, and their life has been going on, as is, in that new country. And now they're experiencing, because some of them, because of the fee, were hindered from renouncing their citizenship. Um, and then others, and so they were experiencing the hardship of not being able to sometimes get retirement, not being able to sometimes open certain accounts because the reporting requirements, the financial institutions found it uh found them as, high risk. It's just like it's too much work to
Yeah.
serve you because of the US reporting requirements. So you have to jump through all of these hoops. If you don't jump through all of these hoops, we can't serve you. So basically that's what was happening. It just became a hardship. So um for those of you who don't know and are, individuals who want to renounce their US citizenship, excuse me, must file Form 8854. It's an initial and annual expatriation statement for the tax year in which they relinquish their citizenship. This form generally must be attached to your tax return, okay? Um, And what happens basically is Internal Revenue Code 877A imposes a mark to market regime, meaning, right, when you file that form, it is as if all of your worldwide assets have been sold. So it's like a ghost, sale of your US assets. And so the unrealized gain, because you're not really selling it, right? So it's not realized. The unrealized gain is taxed. They'll tax your unrealized gain and say, this is what you owe us in certain circumstances. And there are different, there are three cases in which you might receive the tax. Some people don't fall in the category and just simply need to file the forms and renounce. But of course, they still have to file that form and there's still the fee. So anyway, thoughts, Karina? Thoughts?
You know, it's just so everything is so fitting. It's April 1st that we're recording this. You guys won't see it until maybe is it April 3rd? They will see it this week.
Yeah, this week, end of this.
Okay, so you'll see it on April 3rd. The 13th is when they're dropping
Yeah,
the, and that is a 5 time reduction. 450, I mean 2090, 2390 or something like that to 450.
2,350 to 450.
That is a reduction. They over here like get your get out.
You know what? Um, w- with the current climate, I wonder how many people that would incentivize to be like, you
Yeah,
know,
just go ahead and go. But it's very interesting to me because a lot of people don't know about expat taxes, period. They think as soon as they leave the country that they automatically do not have a tax liability anymore. It's
mm,
not even something that they think about, but it's especially now it's becoming more common because more people are leaving the US to go live in other countries and they're basically living there permanently. Maybe they might visit family every now and then, but they're basically living there permanently and not filing taxes. I've had, people tell me, "Oh, well, all of my friends
oh
they're
yeah,
US
yeah,
citizens and they live in other countries and they've never filed a US tax return. I'm only going to file a tax return in my country." And it's like, actually, you can do whatever you want to do. Always, right? I always tell my clients you can do whatever you want to do. However, there are implications of that. I'm going to tell
right.
you what the IRS says. You do with that what you will. As once, if you're a citizen and you leave and go live in another country, you are still a citizen until you renounce. And then if you are a citizen and you have other assets outside of that country, you will be taxed on your worldwide income,
Yeah,
all the income you made in another country.
yeah.
And on top of that, if that country, most countries,
Have
there
an
are some
agreement.
countries
Some
that we
of them
have
have an agreement.
treaties
Yeah,
where you won't be double taxed and you'll be able to have like foreign exclusions and all of those things, credits and all of that. But there are some countries that it doesn't matter that you pay taxes in that other country. You're going to also have to pay taxes here. And that's something that needs to be talked about. A lot of like when you have a major life shift and change, you need to talk to your tax professional first before that happens to see what your tax implications are. Hey, I want to move out the country. What does that look like? Because now we can ask, oh, what country is it? We can research. Does it have a tax treaty? Does it do
mhm.
this? Do you plan on living in that country forever and you want to renounce your citizenship or you want to remain a US citizen? Like all of these things, like you need to talk to one of us to plan for this because it's not just, oh, I just jump up and go.
Yeah,
Even something simple as getting married. Oh, I got married to somebody. Say they're in another country. What does that look like?
yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, and they sometimes they're not US citizens.
Right.
Then what? Right?
Then what? They got to get an I-10. Do you know what that means? You know what I'm like?
Yeah.
You're filing with them. They're filing with you. There's a lot of moving parts here that people aren't thinking about. And I think this is why we have this conversation. The IRS also has a voluntary disclosure for those people who are for those people who they're not doing anything criminal. Now, for the criminals, well, they said there's no rest for the wicked, but for the criminals, that's something else. But for the for the regular people who are not criminals, but maybe like the accidental citizenship people, right? Where their parents maybe had them in the US, they're a US citizen, but they've lived in another country
Oh,
basically
okay.
all of their life. And they didn't realize they were citizens, or maybe they knew they were citizens, but didn't know that they had a tax liability. They're able to do a voluntary disclosure program to say that, um, hey, IRS, I know I messed up. Can I go ahead and file my tax returns and not get fraudulent charges and reduce my penalties for not filing?
Yeah. I
I'm like,
I mean, to renounce your
yeah,
citizenship, though, that's I mean, I could see for those individuals who came to the US for the purpose of a job or something or another, and they renounce the citizenship of their original country, right? Now you're a US citizen, subject to the US tax laws, right? And now you go back home with no intention of coming back here. And couldn't renounce the citizenship, or you know what I'm saying, we're having difficulty renouncing the citizenship. Now you're subject to wherever you are and the US tax law, which I saw in some of the complaints. Some people were having that issue, and that was their complaint. And it's funny, we're talking about this now from um right. And I was mentioning the complaints. Americans abroad cannot open brokerage accounts without a U.S. address. This is one of the individuals making a complaint. He's saying he can't make contributions to an IRA without a brokerage account. And so he cannot invest mutual funds or ETFs in a foreign country without painful high tax and reporting ramifications, FATCA requires foreign financial institutions of a broad scope. So we're saying, oh, you're a US citizen. We're requiring those international financial institutions, banks, stock brokerages, hedge funds, so on and so forth, to report directly to the IRS all clients who are US persons. So they already know.
sounds
But you got
sounds
to
like that Credit Suisse
hear me.
situation.
It sounds so, which leads me to asking, but you're right. It's like what we talked about the last time we had our conversation, only from a different perspective. Now it's flipped, right? Because we were talking about FBAR and being a
Right.
US citizen, you're living in the US, but you've got foreign accounts and having to file that FBAR. This
Yes,
is the other way around.
it is. Ooh, this is very interesting. And then that's it too. Like for people like him, where he's still in the market and all of that, it may not be beneficial for him to renounce his citizenship because once you renounce, you're no longer doing a 1040 if you have US products selling and stuff US only, or if you have a business or something that's operating in the US, you have a 1040 NR, which is non-resident.
Mm.
And there are little to no deductions for out
Oh,
of,
and our
yeah, for 1040 NR. There are little to none deductions. Maybe you might get a foreign exclusion, foreign credit, foreign tax credit, but there aren't really any credits. What are you feeling? What are you thinking?
and this is less from a tax standpoint.
Oh, just
I
I'm
don't know if I
tax.
would renounce them. I'm like, hold on, let
Oh,
me,
I get that. Yeah,
you know what I mean? I mean,
but
I can understand for individuals who, you weren't born here to begin with. So
yeah,
you know what I mean? What do you care? You're at home or whatever. But, given the current climate, you hear there are a lot of people that saying they would rather live elsewhere. Um, Test it out first, because that living elsewhere. You know what I mean? You're not in a, oh, Karina, did I lose you? I think I got a froze. I got a
Oh,
frozen
I
face.
was like, where'd you
There you are.
go,
Okay. You were still cute. So, so I was just gonna say test it out first. You know what I'm saying? Test it out first, and I don't know if I could see myself renouncing. Now, I want my citizenship in other
oh
place,
yeah.
mind you, but to be like, I'm
But I
just
think it's
gonna
good for
get
the
this
option.
one up as
Yeah, I think it's good
shaky
for the
as
option.
things can get and seem and be. Yeah, I don't see
Yeah.
it happening.
For
Um,
those people who, like you were saying, they're in another country and that is their home, like they're never coming back to the US. They have no
mhm.
desire to use as anything. They, you know what I'm saying? No assets, no nothing. Like they don't want to touch US stuff. I think renouncing might be the best option.
Oh,
But
most
if you,
definitely.
you know what I'm saying, if you don't want any ties and stuff, you renounce,
Yeah,
right? But like talk to someone first, maybe before you do that. But if it's a situation where you're back and forth, you know that you're going to go back, maybe you don't want to renounce, but just prepared to do two tax returns at least.
and it's funny that you say the back and forth because there was oh gosh, and I wish I had captured that, but I did not. So that I'm gonna have to sit on that one. But something about renouncing that citizenship and then coming back to the US, there were implications there. There were tax implications there
Yes.
too. Something about 30 days, but I'd have to dig a little deeper. But
But imagine how would they renaturalize at that? You know what I'm saying? Would they, you know what I'm saying? Would they have to go through the exact process? Would somebody have to file for them? Or what if they were born here? What would be the, I don't know. I never even looked
I
into
don't
that part.
know.
I'm thinking tax.
I don't
Um,
know.
but I would assume it'd probably be a lot of work. Oh, it's like, hey, come back. It
Make a
probably will not cost 450.
be like be like your mom. You inside or you outside? Make up your mind.
Right,
Make
right.
up your
Leave all my cool
mind.
air in
Stop
the
coming in
house.
and out my door.
Right. I need all my cool air to stay in the house, not
Yeah.
it's either
I don't
two.
know.
This
I
is
don't know, but
great.
I could see for these individuals who want foreign accounts, but because they're US citizens,
Mhm.
um, it just, it makes the loop, they have to jump through more hoops. I could see why, um, they're celebrating this change. And again,
Yeah.
like we said, it's effective April 13th. Pretty,
Yes.
you
We
imagine
got a few more
450,
days.
450 to be like, I don't want to be a US.
I don't just, you know what? You say you want to go ahead and go. That's what the 450 celebrate.
That's what, oh
Just go.
yeah, right? It's like, oh, you
Yeah.
want to be here?
Get out and stay out. Like that's what
Yes.
that's what it's giving.
It's
Like,
given that, right?
I'm not gonna lie
It's
to you. The U.S., especially something as important as immigration, I've only known immigration to go up, like fee, like
yeah,
why?
food wise,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's very interesting to have it go down so significantly.
Yeah, that's a huge shift. That's a huge shift.
And
Because
on
here's
the other
my
side, to
thing,
be a U.S. citizen is getting higher and higher.
right? So, huh.
Yeah,
Because
like get
my
out.
little suspicious. I'm suspicious about now. I'm suspicious. What you talking about? Who you talking about? Who sent you? What you doing? What? You know what I mean? You know me. I'm suspicious. So, so to lower, it's like, what we trying to do here? What's happening?
Okay, exactly.
Right? I
I
mean,
say,
not that you have a right. And here's the other
of
thing,
course.
because I'm definitely not saying you got a right to hold me hostage anywhere, honey. That's the last thing you want to do is try to hold me hostage. Oh, I will. I'm breaking loose, okay? But, and maybe to them that fee felt like you're holding me hostage. And like I
Mhm.
said, I could see it for those individuals. I guess I'm just saying for those people who are beating their chests and saying, I'm about to get on up out of here. You know what I mean?
Right. But just because they said they're about to get out of here doesn't mean they're going to renounce their
The
citizenship. It's two
citizenship.
different things.
True.
So a lot of people are saying, I'm going to get out of here. Cool, fine, great. Just make sure that you understand what comes with that. Like, great, go ahead, live in another country. Live in it. Like, of course, you can always do that, but just be mindful of the tax implications. That's it.
Mhm.
That's it. Have a conversation with your tax professional if you don't got one. Guess what? I know too, at least, right? But yeah,
Right.
like but seriously, they should have a conversation. Like, this should be an advisory, like an actual tax plan of, I will be leaving at this time, during that time I'm going to this country. What if they're going to multiple countries? They're living and they're working and they're doing things in these multiple, I'm just saying,
Yeah, yeah.
this different place. And what would my tax implications be?
Be.
I still have my house in the US, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I come every now and then.
You know what? Now that you say that, right? Y'all, I'm
Mm-hmm.
about to see my tax brain is click, 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 clicking. I'm gonna have to look this up. Okay. Now that you say that, right? You say, what if they lived in multiple countries?
Yes.
I'm thinking about exchange rates, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh
Okay.
my God.
Get this, right? Okay. And this is something I'm gonna have to research, right? Because I'm curious. I don't have very many, I don't have any anymore. And they stayed in one place, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't have any out of the country at the moment. Those that are out of the country, earn their income outside of the country. Okay, so here's my question. We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to come back and look at this later, but I'm looking at exchange rates, right? I'm looking at, okay, so say I got paid in March
Yes.
of 2026.
Right.
When I got paid, the exchange rate
In
was
the US.
in
Yeah.
my favor
Yes.
as far as taxes are concerned, US tax is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
right? What if then what happens at the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, that's probably
Yeah.
not how it works, but that would be like, you know what I'm saying? I wonder if
Oh, I get what you're saying.
like, is that a shelter? I have no idea. I don't know. And
Oh,
so I
that's
have
a good
to dig into
question.
that. So my
The
question
IRS has
is,
a, oh, mm.
if you come at the end of the year, are we just looking at the exchange rate on that date, on the date that the taxes are being prepared? Or are we looking at the exchange rate?
It's not the date that the taxes are being prepared. It's the date that it's the prior year. And then the IRS, for most, let me not say most, for a lot of the countries, they have an exchange rate average for tax purposes.
Okay.
For other countries that are not on that exchange rate average, you just do the average or you'll do it based on the time frame that the that
That
they
they
got paid.
receive the funds.
Yeah,
Okay.
that they received the funds.
Okay.
Or if
Okay.
they purchase the funds, because sometimes they're also purchasing, because I have some clients that are purchasing things in another country, and then I'm doing the exchange rate in the US dollars. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing it based on that. But
Okay.
for most countries, the IRS has there's a list. I'll send you a link. I'm sending you,
Oh,
people don't care, but like I'll send you a link.
you
The people
send it to
don't care
me.
about tax. Yeah, I'll send a link to you. But they have like an average for most for each year they'll do it.
Okay. See, see, I love these conversations. It just tweaks the nerd in me. You know what I mean? It just that part of me that's like, wait, so could we? You know.
Yeah, I
So,
know,
okay.
right? It can get real, like, especially if it's a rapid shift, because most people, it's like, the exchange rate usually
Yeah.
stays within, like, teeters. But what
Yeah.
if there's like,
Huh?
that would be.
Because then am I within, do I use that average? Simply because is that not extenuating circumstances that I can apply
That's
to
a
the
great question
situation?
that I would not know. Maybe it could be an argument of extenuating circumstances. There was the average or whatever. But I'm thinking, when does the average come? But even with averages, they're taking in consideration the drop.
So are these distributed? They're of course they are
Yeah,
every
so
year
like on the
or
IRS website,
yearly.
I guess I'm
Okay.
assuming they do it probably every year, and they have the 2025 for the tax year, so we can do
Got
it
it.
for, yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
the average is taking in consideration the drop.
Oh, that makes sense. I'm sure it would. Okay. Okay. Well, see how we go back and forth, right? So you guys, if for those of you who are considering living abroad, the general rule is that if you are a US citizen, you are going to be taxed on your worldwide income.
Worldwide. That's it.
For the most part, they know you got that account, which brings me back to that Credit Suisse conversation we had. So now we're about to get into some fraud. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna close it out. But
You can
if
connect
they
that.
all
Yeah. We're gonna
like
have that in
knew,
the connected so you guys can see that video.
oh yeah, if they already know, because it's already being reported,
Mhm.
why are we playing games? Why
That's
are
like
we
the same
acting
thing.
like we didn't know?
It's the same thing. Okay, well, I would caveat with the Credit Suisse, they didn't necessarily know. They they were asking Credit Suisse to give them the names, and Credit Suisse wasn't. But for other banks,
Foreign.
they do give them the names
They're
because they're trying
foreign.
to comply and inform them and whatever else, you know?
They're
Um,
foreign. Got it.
yeah, so they
That's what it was. Right,
yeah.
right, right, right.
But for other banks, they do other foreign banks that are US will ask and they will give it to them depending on the relationship that they have. And it's just the same thing, right? Like this is as a tax professional, right? And this is, I guess, maybe strictly W-2-ish employees. The IRS knows that you made X, Y, and Z. Even for regular employees, if we get a 1099, like this is why they're called informational returns. The other, whoever your employer is, or the person that gave you the money, is also on the other side sending a 1099, a W-2, a 1099 div, a 1099 R, a
Yeah.
1099 DA to the IRS so they can check and balance. Like, hey, this company said that you made $12,000 with them. Why you don't have at least $12,000 on your tax return? So they kind of do know, um, but I guess maybe innocent until proven guilty. I would I
Mm,
would compare because they don't know. No, they don't know all your expenses. That's not something that's what I'm
that
saying. So
part,
maybe
yeah.
12,000 or at least, but they don't know all your expenses.
Right. Well, okay. Well, you know me, like I said.
Yeah, I think the innocent
Typical
proven
defense.
guilty because once the you're sending in this information to make sure that it's correct, and the IRS isn't questioning that. They're saying, okay, I'm going to take you at your word until something doesn't match, and then we're like, oh, let's audit you. Now you need to prove that the expenses and the amount of money and all of the things. Now you have to prove that you deserve this. But on face value, they're trusting.
Yeah. Unless something just looks egregious. It's like really, now you didn't have time to drive all the miles in the year. Stop lying.
Yeah, yeah,
What were you thinking? No. All right, but anyway, you guys, we're going to stop here. Thank you for joining us. Again, if you would like to reach out to Karina or myself, links are in our profiles and in this video and in any comments. If you have something that you'd like us to cover or a question, I don't think we've ever asked it. If you got a question that you want us to research, dig into, or ask, I mean, yeah, comment and we'll do that. Other than that, thank you guys for joining us and in our what do we call the in our our moments of nerddom. I don't know, is that a word? I'll make it up. But
right.
in our moments of we enjoy what we do, and so these conversations are engaging to us. So if you're watching this, you know what we mean. All right. So we thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back again in another couple of weeks. And you guys have a wonderful and great rest of the day. And oh, happy spring.
Yes.
Bringing in spring. Bye, you guys.